Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Yellowjacket pregame show with head coach Steve Bordeaux. I'm Keith Womack, and I'll be your host this season as we talk Yellowjacket football. As always, I want to thank our special sponsors, Wilkinson Cadillac, Domino's, M.R. Stoner Electric, Sheriff Tracy Carter, Carolina Firearms, and First Bank for bringing you our coaches show every Tuesday at 7 o'clock on 105.5 FM WFJA. And we're going to rebroadcast it again at 6 o'clock every Friday night prior to our 7 o'clock kickoff. Also on 105.5 FM WFJA. As a reminder, our video of the coaches show will be posted on the WFJA Facebook page each Wednesday by noon. I look forward to talking with head coach Steve Bordeaux of the Yellowjackets each week and bringing you updates and previews for Yellowjacket football. We're going to take a short break and hear from our great sponsors. We'll be right back with head coach Steve Bordeaux right after these messages. And welcome back to the Yellowjacket pregame show with our head coach Steve Bordeaux. Coach, first of all, I want to welcome you here to our COVID-proof booth. As you can see, we're doing it live here in our golf studios, but we've value our health, so we've made sure everybody's going to be healthy during this broadcast. And, Coach, let's talk about 2019, what seems like forever ago. What a great season the Yellowjackets had. Undefeated in the regular season, conference champions. What a state playoff run, and then, of course, that championship game. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. What a fun time for us. I can't imagine what a great time it was for the coaching staff and the kids for Lee County High School.
Yeah, without a doubt, it was a special time. We really enjoyed that season. It was something I remember from obviously my whole life. One of the things I remember the most is how much community support we had. You know, leaving the state championship day, driving down Horner, and seeing the road side all the way down US 1, you know, people holding banners, screaming, yelling, and just supporting the boys. That was just an amazing thing to see, and that's what Sanford and Lee County is, a great community.
Well, Coach, I just remember how giddy John and I were just really driving up. I mean, it was an afternoon game, and we left at like 8 o'clock in the morning because we just couldn't wait to get there. And, of course, broadcasting the game from Carter Finley Stadium was right up there when we were able to do a Lee County High School championship game at the Smith Center for basketball. So those are kind of the two highlights of our time doing radio. But just a great run, and I know you were so proud of those kids.
Yeah, without a doubt, and we've got to keep working so we can hopefully get back and do it again.
Well, I'm in. We're in. Coach, let's talk a little bit about kind of review that 2019 season. Of course, we had games with E.E. Smith and Northwood, Douglas Byrd, Hoke County, Wilson Fike, all games that you guys won rather handily, to be honest with you. But then there was September 27th, Anson County. Now, Anson was a good team. And so we're sitting here going into this game, and all of a sudden we're down. And we're trailing Anson 19-7 with 3:45 remaining in the third quarter. And they go in and punch in a touchdown because they had the ball on the 1 yard line.
Yep.
So we're losing that game almost by 3 scores. But the Yellowjackets come back and we're able to get a victory. And the reason I'm bringing that game up, how important was that game in the psyche of your team? Because they ended up winning that game 32-25.
Mm-hmm.
How big was that emotionally for your team to come back and have that win? Because after that, the Yellowjackets just seemed to steamroll everybody.
Yeah, without a doubt, I think Anson, like you said, was a very, very good team. And we knew that going in. That was a crazy night. I think the Friday night we started playing, I think we had 2 rain delays. Every time we could get any kind of momentum, anything going well for us, you know, we'd have a rain delay. We had to go in the locker room, and things just didn't work out. We were very fortunate. The storm probably helped us a little bit. And we didn't come back on that Monday night as almost a totally different football team. We really didn't change anything. we refocused the guys and got them pointed back in the right direction. And shoot, the end of that third quarter, they played their butts off, and we finished the fourth quarter off well. But I would say without that game, without that challenge by Anson, I don't believe that we finished the season the way we did. So I appreciate Anson coming and bringing it to us on that Friday night.
Well, Coach, we see it all the time, whether it's football or basketball. Sometimes teams just don't have – I don't want to say they're being lazy about it, but they just don't have the normal energy to go out and play. And Lee County that night did not have the energy we had seen them play with. But, boy, when they came back Monday, we thought maybe you guys had really given them a big pep talk in the locker room after that delay. But, wow, big victory that night.
Without, I think sometimes, especially that group last year, sometimes, being calm and talking to them was even better than, screaming, yelling, and, calling them names. It was always, we would re-coach them, and they would take the coaching, and obviously it worked out well.
Well, I always liked one of the things that people talked about Dean Smith all the time was that he always had confidence that his players could win. Even when he didn't think they were going to win, he made them believe that they could win, and it was just a great night. But after that, we had an open date, kind of time to refocus and regroup. Then we get into the conference season. The Jackets, big win over Triton, a big win over Union Pines, big win over Harnett Central, even though that was close for a little while. A huge victory over Western Harnett, and then another huge win to finish out the season against the Cavaliers in the Brick City Bowl. Coach, good game against East Guilford. Again, a lot of these games were games that a lot of pundits were not predicting the Jackets to win.
You're right.
Always disrespected in my mind, especially from the Raleigh media. But Lee County handles Eastern Guilford. Then Southern Alamance was another game they didn't think Lee County was going to win. Handled them by a 33-12 score. And then Lee County versus Cleveland. All we heard about was the kid that's everybody's after that's a running back.
Yep.
And Jackets were able to defeat them 34-27. Then you come into New Hanover. You've got the Nixon kid that everybody's real high on at quarterback. And if I'm not mistaken, was that the game where Larry Baldwin was out?
Larry was out, yeah. We started TJ at linebacker, sophomore, and he played a heck of a game.
And is that the game where Colin was sick?
Colin wasn't feeling real well, yeah.
And we're like, oh, my goodness, we get this far, and everything is falling against the Jackets. But what a big victory, 34-9 over New Hanover to get to the state championship game. And then, of course, we ran into Will Shipley, Clemson signee, and just what a fabulous football player that he is. And I thought it was a great game, though. 34-14 is not really indicative of how close the game was. They really scored kind of late to put it away. But regardless, congratulations, Coach. What a great season, and we had as much fun and enjoyed that ride as much as you guys did.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all following us the whole way, and that was a heck of a season. Those boys are amazing kids, and they raised the bar for what it means to be a Yellow Jacket.
Well, Coach, real quick, we've got about another minute before the break, but just wanted to check. A long off season, COVID-19 hits. It's been terrible for everybody, especially tragic for the ones who haven't made it through this pandemic. But how have you adjusted to coaching remotely, and how have you been able to prepare the Yellow Jackets for the work they've got this coming season?
Yeah, first thing I'd say it's been a roller coaster of emotions for the kids. We left to go to spring break really when we left last March. Everybody thinking they've had a 2-week spring break, and we come back 12 months later just about to play our first game. So it's been a roller coaster. There's been some highs, some lows. At one point we weren't sure if we were playing or not. The boys kept working. They were getting after it on Zoom. We had more virtual meetings than ever before, and hopefully that's a tool we can continue to use in the future. But what I will give the kids and the coaches credit for is we adapted any time something needed to be changed, and we continue to make the best of every situation. And I'm hoping those things translate to the field.
Well, Coach, we certainly do too, and we're going to talk a little bit when we come back about the upcoming season, some of the key players you lost from last year, how we're going to plug some of those holes, all that and much, much more when we return with head coach Steve Bordeaux here on the Yellow Jacket pregame show. And welcome back to the Yellowjacket pregame show. I'm your host, Keith Womack, and if you've noticed a new little puppy right here in front of us, compliments of Wilkinson Chevrolet. We've got a nice Player of the Game trophy, so after each game, one of the Yellowjacket players will be rewarded with a Player of the Game. Their name will be engraved on the front or side of this nice trophy, and it will be preserved over at Lee County High School in the trophy case forever and evermore. So we're really excited about that, Coach. Welcome back to us. Real quick, let's talk about last year. We were talking about last year. You guys lost all conference players galore. Colin Johnson, who's now at UNC Pembroke. Des Evans at UNC Chapel Hill. DeAndre Dingle-Prince, who had a chance to go watch him play in the bowl game for App State. You got A.J. Boulware. Larry Baldwin, all gone from last year's team. Jaden Chalmers, who signed with Carolina. He's now at East Carolina. All having fantastic careers past high school football. A lot of talent gone, but also a large part of your leadership team from 2019. How do you adjust to move forward?
Yeah, without a doubt, a lot of talent. Love those guys. They helped raise the bar for what Lee County football is and got us to where we were last year, and hopefully passed off the baton to this next group of kids. Those guys are going to help a lot of college football teams that you named win some football games over the next few years. So really appreciate those guys and several more that haven't been named.
Well, Coach, I know that one of the beautiful things about watching Lee County football last year was not only these players we just talked about, but was the depth that you were able to create. A lot of good, talented players coming back. I mean, I'm looking at the roster, and you've got Tyreek McKendall, Landon Johnson coming back, bigger and better than ever. Jackson Lamb for his senior year, who played really well in the secondary. Jojo Jennings, Delmaz Jennings, Darren McCoy. I mean, you've got some really talented players coming back. I hope I didn't miss any. Tell us what you're going to look for out of these guys for leadership on this year's team.
Yeah, I think it all starts with about leadership. We have Jaden Marshall as our captains. Jaden Marshall, Cullen McDonough, and Jackson Lamb are our three senior captains. Those guys, they get it done in the classroom. They work their butt off on the field. They do everything that we need them to do. They're vocal leaders, and they do it the right way. So it starts with those guys. Jaden's is going to be a DB and play some receiver for us. Cullen was a starter on the offensive line last year, and Jackson's a little bit all over the field. So we expect big things from those guys again this year.
Well, Coach, let's talk real quick about the Tri-County 3A Conference this year. It'll be the last year, I'm assuming, that there'll be such a Tri-County 3A Conference with the realignment that's coming up for 2021.
Yeah.
It'll still be this year, but it'll be in the fall. What are your thoughts on the Tri-County 3A Conference as you know of right now?
I think this year's really completely unknown. Most teams didn't get a scrimmage in. We couldn't do 7-on-7s. We only know what we've done in practice against each other. So I feel like this could be a season, and we get to week 3 or 4 and still not have a really good idea of who the teams are in the conference, and even rolling through conference. Hopefully making the playoffs, it could be even more of a wild card.
Well, you've got Lee County, of course. You've got the Cavaliers across town with Southern Lee, Union Pines, Western Harnett Central, and Triton, which will all be in action Friday night, as a matter of fact. In fact, let's go through the schedule real quick. Lee County will be at South Granville, which you can listen to live right here on 105.5 WFJA. You've got Southern Lee at Franklinton. Union Pines will be at Montgomery Central. Western Harnett will be they're playing Smithfield-Selma. Harnett Central will be playing West Johnston. And then Triton will be at Nightdale. So all the teams in action next week or this Friday night. It's going to be a fun-filled night of Friday night football. And, of course, we'll bring you updates during the Lee County game as often as we can. Real quick, Yellowjacket Offense. Who are going to be the key players this season?
So I think it starts with the quarterback. All right, quarterback in our offense this year. Will Patterson and Mark Schlesinger have done a great job. They've really stepped up their game. Both of those guys did some stuff on JV for us last year, and really felt comfortable if we needed them to do some stuff on varsity. We're just very fortunate to have a guy that won a whole lot of football games in Collin last year. Mm-hmm. So Will's going to get it done for us starting this Friday, and we expect him to lead the way. Running back's going to be a little bit by committee. We've got 4 or 5 guys that probably going to take some carries carries back there. T.J. Johnson, Darion Jennings, Bradley Brown, Rodney Ingram, and maybe even a couple more. Maybe Tyreek might take a couple carries. We'll see. We might not have one guy get 20, 25 like AJ's done the last few years, but we'll have a good handful of really good backs that can get it done. And that receiver, Tyreek will be back out there. Kenyon Palmer is doing a really good job for us. Eli Garrison and Jason Berdicia. And then without the offensive line, none of that matters. We've got 6 or 7 guys we're going to rotate on the offensive line, led by Colin McDonough and James Gordon coming back as seniors. And the rest of the group's really a scrappy group that's going to keep getting better throughout the season.
We talked about it during the season last year, but none of these things happened that were happening with that offense.
Yeah.
Without that offensive line, because they did a phenomenal job. And there were a couple of games where we went up against some Division I type defensive linemen, especially in the state playoff run, and our guys held their own. I thought they did fantastic. But real quick, let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. What can we expect from the Jackets, and who's going to step up defensively this year?
I'm really excited about the defense. As coaching on the offensive side, during practice, we go against a really, really good defense every day. So I think that helps, especially up front, helps those offensive linemen. But on the defensive line, Delmaz Jennings is back, and he was the defensive player of the game for the state championship for us. Ross Johnson's a kid that stepped up really big time for us this offseason. We're expecting big things from him. Linebackers, Jojo and TJ are going to do a great job. Those two guys look like grown men running around the field right now, so hopefully they can play like that on Friday nights too. And I feel really good about our secondary. It may end up being a little bit of a rotation there, but it's a good thing with having a rotation because I feel like we got a lot of guys led by Jaden Marshall and Kenyon Palmer and Carlos Hancock. Jackson will be out there. All those guys do a really, really good job in the secondary, and I think that's going to make us a really good defense.
Well, Coach, I would tell you what, to me, I thought with all that talent you had on defense last year, I thought our most valuable player, in my mind, was always Larry Baldwin. He was the guy out there kind of running that defense, putting everybody in the right place, making things happen. And when he went out during the state playoff run, I thought, oh, my goodness, here we go. TJ, what a dude stepping up. And then we also got to talk about Jojo Jennings, I believe named All-American as a freshman. So a lot of high praise for him. And just to think he's still got 3 years of high school football, and he's growing every day.
Ain't no doubt about it. Our defense, Coach Jacobs, and our defensive coaches do an outstanding job, so there's never a doubt that those guys are going to be prepared. And the way we practice, we're always getting the next guy ready. So we don't just leave guys standing around. We're going to coach them up on JV and move them up to varsity when they need to be. They're going to be prepared.
Well, Coach, I know with personnel coming in, going out, there's going to be some changes. Any major changes in your type of offense or type of defense similar to what you ran last year?
I think it'll be similar. We did very similar things on JV. That's what the guys are comfortable with. There might be a wrinkle here or there as the season goes on. I think we have a really, really good group of receivers that have been in our offense for a couple of years now, feel very comfortable. So we might have some more route concepts with that. This will be his 3rd year in our offense. It's his 1st year on varsity as a starter, but he's still been in the offense for a couple of years. So those things will end up helping us out. And defensively, we've got some D linemen that can really move around and play different positions, so that helps us out a lot.
Coach, in 30 seconds, tell us a little bit about South Granville. What do we expect offensively and defensively from them?
So South Granville is a very, very well coached team. Every year they're a 10-win plus team type of group. They're a very scrappy team. They've got good athletes. They run like a triple option type on offense. They have a really good defensive line. They run to the ball. And Coach Hobgood has done a really good job with them for a long time. So we expect them to be very well prepared.
Well, Coach, best of luck Friday night, and we certainly appreciate you coming in here for the pregame show. We're going to take a final break and come back and finish up in just a moment.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And welcome back to the Yellowjacket pregame show. We hope you've enjoyed listening to the Yellowjacket pregame show with head coach Steve Bordeaux. Coach, I'd like to thank you for coming in. We certainly appreciate it. I'd like to remind everybody to join us for our pregame show each Tuesday night at 7 o'clock on 105.5 WFJA and every Friday night prior to the games at 6 o'clock also on 105.5 WFJA. Our Coaches Show is also posted on the WFJA Facebook page each Wednesday by noon, and we hope that you'll take these opportunities to follow us this season for Yellow Jacket football. Go to the WFJA Facebook page and watch anytime. We also remind you there's no better place to see game articles within hours after the game concludes, game stats, updated season stats, conference standings, rankings, previews, all that much more on the WFJA website. Follow the WFJA website for everything about Yellow Jacket football, and follow the Yellow Jackets with our live broadcast on 105.5 FM as they take on South Granville in Week 1 of the spring football season. We'd like to thank all our sponsors for bringing you our show tonight. We thank you for listening to WFJA Sports. Now get on your feet, Jacket fans. It's time for Yellow Jacket football.